Hey, good afternoon, everyone. Chris Thorne with HireMilitary. Glad to be here with you again as we have our Thursday series to talk with employers, to talk about your successful transition, whether you're military, whether you're transitioning military, whether you're a veteran, whether you're a military family and military spouse. We want to make sure that we set you up for success. And today I am really, really super happy to be joined by one of the most awesome advocates that we have out there in LinkedIn, as well as just in the community to take care of veterans and military families. And so I've got Jessica Reynolds with me. Jessica's with L3Harris Technologies, an incredible company, and we'll talk more about them. But first, I'd just love to welcome you. Thanks for being here with us today, Jessica.
Thanks for having me. I'm super pumped. And if you see my 10-year-old running around in the back or screaming loudly about something, COVID, parenting, here we are.
You and I were talking about this. I mean, that's actually, I think that's part of what's good about what's happening right now is that we've gotten to a little bit of a different space. We had this expectation that everyone had to be real buttoned up and real tight and real formal about everything. And I think we've connected with the fact that people are human beings with families, with real things happening in life. And I think that's just awesome to be able to do that. So I am so glad to have you here with us today. And, I'd love to start, if you don't mind. Everyone knows me at this point, but I'd love for everyone to hear a little bit about you. So tell us about yourself.
So I am a military spouse, and I am born and bred in Norfolk. I grew up around the Navy. My grandfather's a retired warrant officer. My other grandfather was in the Army Air Corps in Korea. Like, I have been around the military my whole life. And I grew up in Norfolk. I married a guy in the military. I mean, it's not a lot of deep swimming pools out here. But, and I kind of lucked into being a recruiter, honestly. There's no degree path for recruiting. Not really in HR, and not really, in marketing. So that's what my degrees are in: marketing and HR.
And so you found yourself in recruiting instead.
I actually got into agency staffing sales. And
I'm curious. Tell me a little bit about that.
So I lucked into a job, and it was staffing sales. And I was working for this little mom and pop type of staffing agency based out of Charlotte, and I was selling construction labor. And I loved going out and talking to the candidates and finding out about them. And that's when I realized how life altering helping somebody get a job is. I lived in my own little bubble, basically, of Mm-hmm. And then people are like, "Oh my God, thank you so much. You don't know how much this job means to my family." And I'm like, what? and that was it. I went from a smaller staffing agency to a larger staffing agency. I mean, if anybody reads on my LinkedIn, I used to work for Adecco. And then my time at Adecco earned me my job now with L3Harris. And it's just been awesome since I stepped in the door. I love what I do. I love the people that I work with. I love being able to help others in the military community with employment, with questions, resumes. It can be daunting, and I found that I like
exhausting. Probably exhausting at some points too.
I mean, take my husband for example. My husband turned 18 in boot camp. He'll serve, his 20 plus years. When he gets out, he's never written a resume. He's never had a job outside of high school jobs. He's never had to go out and write a resume and interview. And he's sat for different boards and, different pins. But that isn't an interview that allows you to provide for your family, that allows you to care for yourself. And that's kind of how I ended up down this military advocacy rabbit hole that turned into me finding my real passion.
Okay, so you've actually just hit on really the next question that was in my mind is, obviously you've got a great military family background there. It's actually really impressive. I love hearing about that. Obviously you've got military in your direct family with your husband serving now, and being that military spouse, military family is part of it. Is that what gave you the passion for veteran and military family opportunities, or is that something that you feel was just inside you?
I think that it was there, but I didn't understand kind of what to do with it. Like, as a military spouse, everybody's like, "Oh, thank you for your service. Thank you for your service." And I'm like, "Oh, I'm off floors. What?" Like, but then I started really like getting into the community and talking to fellow spouses and talking to them about the problems that they had with employment and the gaps in their resumes and the problems that they had when their husbands were getting out and the problems their husbands had. And it made me realize that there was a gap that I could try to help bridge with the knowledge that I had gained through my job.
I love that. I mean, it's a good thing. So we've actually got a great set of viewers with us here today, and I know that they're here because of what you do, your background, and where you're at. So I'm sure they're very, very curious. So let's go ahead. Let's have some real talk right now. You've been in talent acquisitions for quite a while now. You've been doing a great job. You've got this passion for veteran military family opportunities. But we also know that part of that is helping people understand the environment that they're going into when they sometimes don't. Like you mentioned, your husband, which, by the way, I was the same. I joined the Navy at 17 years old. First time I had to think about the real world was when I finished 30 years of the Navy. So there's lots to learn. So from some of your experience and perspective, talk to us. Tell us some of the biggest barriers that are in the way for those veterans as they leave military service to really find that next military career. What have you seen? What are those challenges?
You have to know what you want to do. And yeah, I get it. Like, some commands aren't great about like giving you the time that you need for transition, but you have to know what you want to do. And I encourage everyone to reach out to somebody with a company that you want to work for, or in the field that you want to go into, and just ask questions. And all you have to do is frame it with like, "Hey, I'm getting ready to get out of the military and I'm really interested in a career that you're in. Can I ask you some questions?" Most people are going to say yes. If they don't, well, you let me know and I'll bust them out. But asking questions, decide what you want to do with in your life. Like, you were a corpsman. You obviously didn't want to go into medical because that's not what you're doing now.
Right.
So some people would love to step out on Friday in their Navy job, hang up their uniform, and step right into the same job Monday morning.
True.
And that's great. Those people will probably have an easy time finding a job. But then you've got people who don't want to, or people who there's no real civilian equivalent to your job. You're an aviation ordnanceman. Not a lot of that happening in the civilian world.
True.
I hate to break it to you. But things like that, like, those people, figure out what you want to do. You know when you're going to drop papers. Like, you know when your contract's going to end, usually. Most people. I know that that's not the case for everybody. But start looking into it. What do you want to do? Talk to people. Look at job descriptions. See what kind of certifications you might need. Get them while you're still in.
Yes. And, I love that you went there, because here, when I talk with service members, transitioning service members who are just really starting to put thought into what do I want to do, here's the most common thing. Tell me if you've heard this before, especially from our mid to senior levels. Well, I want to lead and develop people and help them achieve their best selves so that they can contribute to the success of an organization that I really believe in the mission of.
They copy and pasted that from their last eval.
Right. And so I think we've all heard that one. That's not knowing what you want to do. That's doing the job that you're leaving the military from.
Correct. And telling me that you want to be a program manager or a project manager because that's what you were in the Navy or the Army. No, you weren't. I hate to break it to everyone listening to this, but a civilian program and project manager are vastly different from managing a collateral duty program in the military. Your P&P is great, but it's not the end-all be-all. So setting your expectations is the best advice I could give to anybody.
You hit it, and I know this is going to be a sensitive point for some people, and so okay, let's everyone put on thick skin right now because it is going to be sensitive. But you hit a point that's important to talk about. Every mid-level manager is not the equivalent of a civilian project or program manager. If you are a E7 or an E8, you are not a civilian director of operations. These are not equivalent. So now we say that, and a lot of people get frustrated. They're banging their head on the desk and saying, why not? Why not? So, operations, I think, is a great one. When you talk operations in a civilian setting, why is that different from when I say operations in a military setting?
Operations is so encompassing of so many different things. I mean, in the civilian world, operations, you can have HR operations, you can have technical operations, you can have logistics operations. The civilian world is so broad. And I know the military is too, because I know there are 17 MOS codes that equate to an electrician.
That's very, very true. So, but would you say, again, you mentioned project and program management, which, by the way, in the civilian sector are not the same thing, even though in the military we're kind of interchangeably using the phrase. So what would you say are some of the key differences, just to help everyone understand and sort of set a mental frame of reference? What are some of the key differences between what we think is program project management in the military versus what the expectations in the civilian world are?
So in the civilian world, a project manager is just that. They have a project within their company that they manage from a medium-ish level. They're the shop chief. They're the shop chief. Okay. And please don't take that as me telling you all chiefs are project managers. Just trying to make it relatable.
I understand, yeah.
But that's what they are. They're the shop chief. Everybody comes to them. They're the ones that schedule. They make the roster. The program manager is the warrant. He's the warrant. They all roll up this way. So you've got your program manager here, and your program manager will manage many projects in a program. So they have their project managers that manage the individual projects.
Mm-hmm.
And there are plenty of people that get out of the military and go straight into these roles, but it is not the norm. And it takes a well-written resume and someone who can speak their military experience to that resume. There are a plethora of civilian employers that don't speak the same language as you. While there are recruiters out there like me who are trying ferociously to end that, we can't be everywhere.
Yeah. And
I'm lucky that L3Harris is such a wonderful military-friendly company. I mean, Sean Stackley, hopefully he sees this, is one of our senior vice presidents who was a previous SecNav. So that military inclusive culture starts at the top. And if you're an employer out there and you hear my message, military inclusive culture starts with you. And it trickles down to people like me at the recruiter level who are looking for your employees who served in the military. Finding that advocate within a company will be very beneficial. I know you hear a lot of people say it's not what you know, it's who you know. And that's actually very true. Getting an employee referral is a faster process for just about any company on the planet than it is to apply from their website.
So you've hit on a couple of important points there, and culture absolutely matters. But the truth is, less than 5% of the American workforce are actually veterans. And so while we would love, and having someone like you who is part of the military family who can help make that translation is so helpful, but we can't count on that being the case for every one of the 24 million companies in the United States that we're going to have that. So it's important for us as veterans and as military families to make sure that we're translating into the culture and language that we want to step into. Would you agree with that?
Yes. Knowing your audience is key. There are a number of organizations out there that will help you write your resume. I'm not going to name any of them because I don't necessarily want to endorse any of them.
Sure.
Some of them may over civilianize your resume. So you need to know what industry you're targeting and what company you're targeting, because you wouldn't send me the same resume that you would send to a non-DoD affiliated company, because we want to see your military experience. I want to see some of your NECs and the platforms that you've worked on. Have you worked on Aegis? Did you work on Mark 7s? Like, I want to know the specifics. But if you want to go into a civilian company that doesn't interface with the DoD, they don't know what that means. They don't care. So knowing who you're sending your resume to and knowing how to speak their language while not diminishing your well-earned career.
That is, you just hit, wow, over civilianizing resumes. So, so many service members, when they come out, I don't know about everyone out there. I know for me, by the 75th time that I heard somebody tell me to translate and civilianize my resume, I was beating my forehead against a wall and not understanding where they were at. And so there is such a thing as over civilianizing. And you mentioned, obviously, if you're talking about a company that's in the defense industrial space, they want to know some of your defense background. Mm-hmm. So keep that in there, and value and respect your service time, but make it translatable. And so knowing the audience, I love it. So maybe this is a great time for me to ask then, we talk about, okay, some of those challenges. Project management isn't what you think. Operations isn't what you think. Maybe they're, civilian. Let's talk about some of the things that veterans and military family members do well going into the space. Those what are the things that seem to be consistently successful for them when they go into the civilian hiring environment?
So, and we can't, it's HireMilitary. We can't not knock the fact that they are using these services that are afforded to them. It's on my shirt. Look, HireMilitary.
I love that.
We can't discount these services that offer assistance. Veterans are so good at so many things, and military spouses are just, we're some of the most resilient people on the planet. We pack up and move every 3 to 4 years. We have new jobs, new friends. Our kids go to new schools. We have to learn new geography and new everything all the time. Speak to that. You're adaptable. You're driven. Leadership is ingrained in every military member from basic training to the day you retire. Show me on your resume that you're a leader. I know you are. Anybody who has an honorable discharge has been a leader in some capacity to someone. That counts. That counts for a lot.
Bring that forward.
Yeah, and fast forward, L3Harris.
There you go. I love it. So, you mentioned using services, HireMilitary. Obviously, we're here. Oftentimes I think for those in the military community, we sometimes associate, if it's free, it must not be as good. And there are so many services out there that are provided to military members, veterans, and military families. And I'm gonna tell people something they may not know. It's not actually free. It's just that you're not paying for the service because other people are paying for the service so that you can have the benefit of it without having to pay. So this is other people's way of giving back to you.
Correct. Like the Paradigm Switch. I'm also affiliated with Paradigm Switch. I'm their community outreach and engagement coordinator, meaning I interface externally. I'm trying to advocate for military spouses to come into the platform, and it's completely free for military spouses. And it's an educational tool that will help you learn about yourself, learn about your goals, and teach you the steps that you need to take to create a PCS-proof career path, regardless of how you want to do it. We're such a diverse group of volunteers. I don't get paid for it. I don't need to get paid for it. But we rely on donors. We're a 501(c), so other people are paying for you to have this service. And just because it's free, We've just signed on to partner with a national, like top national college to help recreate our educational platform for free. It's still free.
Love it.
And
Free,
so
free
getting in
free
there.
to the member, yeah. Free to the member.
Yeah.
It's not free to provide, but it's free to the spouses to use.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And I mean, I've done it. I went through the platform, and I actually went through the platform at a very critical time in my career path where I was transitioning from sales into recruitment, and it helped me open my mind to seeing what I really wanted out of life, what I really wanted to do. And it helped me put me on that path to making it happen for me, because nobody's going to do it for you. Having an advocate, having a mentor, having an in is only going to open the door.
Yep.
You've got to be able to walk up the steps and go through the door, because we can do it for you. If I could, everybody's lives would be a lot easier.
So I'm gonna throw that shout out. You mentioned, it sort of went by him really quick. I want to throw that shout out. The Paradigm Shift, an amazing switch. I'm sorry, I apologize. The Paradigm Switch, an amazing nonprofit organization with amazing volunteers like you that is focused specifically and solely on military families, military spouses, and helping set them up for success. Right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so we're going to make sure that we tag them in to this post for people afterwards, and I love that you're part of that. What made you? Well, I know what made you want to do it, or I think I do. What made you decide you have the time and the energy to be able to dedicate to that cause when you're already doing so much?
If something is important, you will make time. And what is more important than making sure that my fellow spouses have every opportunity to succeed, when right now, do you know what military spouse unemployment's sitting at right now, Chris?
Unfortunately, I do. Go ahead.
30 to 35%.
And that's just unemployment, not underemployment included.
That's just spouses who can't find a job.
Yeah.
Not including the spouses who have higher education degrees. Military spouses are 18% more likely to have a graduate degree than their civilian counterparts.
Yeah.
Yet we face more unemployment than anybody else in the country.
Absolutely. I am so appreciative that you're there. And I think that's a passion of ours. And we're very hopeful at HireMilitary that in the very near future that we're going to be able to help contribute on that one. And so I'll save that one for a later date, but I love that you're doing it. And, part of this entire, whether it's military veterans or military families and spouses, part of the pathway to success, and I think you touched on it, is those contacts, that inside referral in companies when we talk about jobs, building those networks and professional relationships. I know we all say it over and over and over again. We're here on LinkedIn. By the way, we're also across on Facebook and YouTube. So if you're on Facebook watching this, if you're on YouTube watching this, I'm really glad. Now get on over here to LinkedIn, because this is where your networking matters. So tell me, you are placing people into great professional jobs. You know this better than almost anyone else. Do networks and professional connections matter?
Yes, absolutely. I can't stress this enough. I want you to think about it pre-COVID. So pre-COVID, we used to go to mixers. We used to go and hang out and go to professional networking events. Well, can't do that now unless you want to wear a mask. And it's really hard to gauge somebody's facial expressions when half their face is covered. LinkedIn is here. LinkedIn, I can't stress LinkedIn enough, honestly. You get on there, you talk to people, you make connections. I mean, if it wasn't for LinkedIn, I probably wouldn't be here. We would have never met. It connects people to opportunities. That's still not saying it's the easy way and that LinkedIn is the land of opportunity. You still have to work for it and be qualified for it. I got to throw those disclaimers out there. But your professional network is your backbone. I mean, you can find referrals, you can help your friends, you can learn new things. People share articles all the time, and I'm just like, holy moly, I didn't know this. This is amazing. It's a place to grow professionally, even if you've never been in the professional world, even if you are just trying not to lose your mind. I don't know.
Yeah. No, it's interesting. And, please understand, we're not here trying to sell LinkedIn, but having a place to build your networks, professional relationships matters. And there's no doubt, I think, that LinkedIn is the platform to do that. But one of the things that I always find interesting, especially from the veteran community, is it's often said one of the biggest challenges veterans face is that feeling of being disconnected from a community where they belong, right? That you get your DD 214 and you walk out the gate and you no longer are part of that brotherhood, sisterhood, that community of like-minded individuals to your left and right. And the thing that I really love is there are millions of veterans here on LinkedIn, E1 to O10, who served 4 years or 40 years, who are ready to be that network for you, all branches of service. If a 24-year-old E3 has the opportunity to build strong bonds and networks with a prior 4-star who served 45 years and have them as a mentor on this platform. And I love that about it. So, okay. Enough of my preaching on that. Let's talk about some opportunities, because really I think that's what everyone wants to hear about. So L3Harris Technologies, and I think I got that right because I know there's been some mergers done in there. So L3Harris Technologies is actually an amazing company that a lot of people working in defense should know if they don't already know it, because there's so close an integration. But it's also a great cultural fit for veterans. So you mentioned a little bit ago about one of the VPs, and I'd love to hear a little bit more about what makes the culture at L3 such an attractive place to be.
I know we're all delineated by business unit, and I work for the Integrated Mission Systems unit. And I work particularly for maritime services. So that's why most of the jobs, if you see that I post on LinkedIn, that I post, you need Navy experience. Sorry guys, we can't really pay you to work on Navy ships if you've never been on a Navy ship. Yeah. It's just kind of luck of the draw. But we service the military. So who better to help us serve the military than people who we served? I think out of every hiring manager, program manager that I work with, I think only one of them has not served.
Wow. So
I've got everybody from E7 through 06 that I work with every day.
So now I'm going to ask you a question that and I don't mean to interrupt, but when I hear that E7 to 06, so if I get a job at L3Harris Technology, am I just walking into another uniformed role without wearing a uniform? I mean, is that 06 still think they're an 06?
He does not. He is, bless his heart, he's still pretty new, and I hope he's watching. But they're equals. We have an E7 who works side by side with an 04. I mean, they're technically the 04's boss, but he's been there longer. Yeah. But he has a counterpart who's also a retired 04. And they're equals. We have a couple of sub master chiefs. They're equal to that 04. So you can feel secure that you're not just stepping into another role where you've got people with inflated heads above you. Not to put down any of our senior leadership that we might have had, but I think we all experienced leadership in our military time that might have been a little challenging, but so I love it. It's got a great culture. It's a great friend. So now let's talk about you. And I know all my Army and my Air Force folks out there. I'm sorry, but Jessica's got some amazing opportunities. But I did ask some of my teammates for some opportunities also that they would like me to speak about, which my division is really the only one that needs Navy, because my division does Navy ship alteration, modernization, and we work a lot on the Aegis systems.
Nationwide too, whether that's San Diego, Norfolk, Honolulu, whatever. I mean, it's
Jacksonville,
all around. Seattle, Bremerton, all around. So
Groton, even in poor little Groton.
There you go. But I'm going to throw up the flag here for everyone right now. Jessica's about to lay down. These are jobs you're hiring for right now, not
these are all open, immediate, available positions that we are hiring for.
Let her rip. I want to hear these.
All right. So personally, I am desperately searching for somebody who has classified program security officer experience. It needs a TS clearance. It's in Norfolk. It's got a great pay rate, which I cannot disclose on this video. And we have awesome benefits. I will tell you that. We have awesome benefits. But that's in Norfolk, and interviews are immediately available for qualified candidates.
Awesome.
I'm also hiring for a program manager. Everybody's favorite word. It does require 10 to 15 years of ship modernization program oversight. So, senior enlisted, junior officer who's done a couple of long yard periods. Mm-hmm. This would be great for you. Does require secret clearance. Also in Norfolk, requires some travel. Not a lot, but some. Then we are looking for some software engineers. If anybody out there is a software engineer, doesn't have to be military, can be military, but doesn't have to be. 2 years C++ and Qt experience, and a bachelor's degree.
That's not a tough ask.
Nope. And we're looking for those here in Chesapeake.
Okay.
So we've got a production planner in Ashaway, Rhode Island. I have no idea where that is.
Rhode Island's small enough. It can't be too far.
Yeah, looking for somebody who's just got some program oversight. They've done some, financial planning on that, bachelor's degree, and 4 years experience, looking for an active secret clearance there.
Awesome.
We're also looking for another program manager, in Northampton, Massachusetts.
Wow.
Yep. So 7 years experience, bachelor's in a relatable field, business, engineering, management. PMP is desirable, or if you can get it within the first year. So for my friends who've gone through O2O, this one's for you. 7 years experience, and we've got a contract specialist position. So your OSs. This is a great position for an OS or an LS.
Nice.
Contracts, fulfillment, things of that nature. You've ordered all this stuff. You've managed all these contracts. Let's work it out. 5 years experience with FAR, DFAR. Mm-hmm. They'd like an MBA, but a bachelor's will be okay. And that one's in Camden, New Jersey.
All right.
And then we have a program finance specialist in the DMV area. I know lots of veterans in the DMV area. Program finance specialist, bachelor's degree with 6 years of relevant financial experience.
Okay.
And then secret clearance is highly preferred.
Nice. Okay.
Those are all things that you can apply to today, interview with. And I have so many more. Engineering technicians. I have electrical positions, welding. We have, here's a good one. Evan, here's a shout out for my counterpart, Evan. Looking for an acoustics subject matter expert.
Wow.
In Hawaii. Like, okay. Come on, guys. I know somebody served on a sub who's really good with acoustics, who lives in Hawaii, who wants a job.
A good job, not just a job. Good job.
Yeah. I mean, so these are all positions that are available now.
Nice.
Yesterday.
Okay. So you're looking for people right now, and I see in the chat stream there's some folks throwing out there, hey, I'm here, so I know you'll see some of those later on. For everyone who's watching, whether it's now or later, we're going to make sure that Jessica is tagged in, and Jessica's already told me that you can connect with her on LinkedIn. Now, go ahead, throw that out to them. I want people to know how to get in touch with you. So
go ahead and connect with me on LinkedIn. Leave me a note on, hey, I saw the live stream. That way I just know you're not, some weirdo. I mean, you can be weird. That's fine. I like weird, but we got to make sure it's the right weird. So just throw me a connection request. Send me a note. Tell me, hey, I saw the live stream. I'm interested in this position. Or if maybe you're not interested in any of these positions and you really just want to know if we have something for you. Our careers website has a really neat feature where you can connect your LinkedIn profile to our career site. So make sure your LinkedIn profile is very up to date and you have all your skills on there, because a blank LinkedIn profile will get you. So you can connect your LinkedIn profile. It'll show you all the jobs that we have that you're qualified for. And I will be happy to advocate on your behalf.
Nice. Nice.
Again, I cannot make it happen, but I can help get the door open.
Nice. And you, as you mentioned, you said people don't need to waste their in-mail credits trying to do that connection with a note saying, "Hey, Jessica, I saw the live stream," and you'll be answering them back.
Correct. And I share jobs from L3Harris. I share jobs from other recruiter friends that I have. I just want to help, whether you work with me or I help you find a job somewhere else. Just let me know how I can help.
I can vouch for that. Jessica is everywhere. And I'm, Michael Muchowski, and Michael, I apologize if I just obliterated your name, but he did ask a question, which I think is important. He asked, are there any positions in Europe or overseas, or is L3Harris just in the United States?
We are in 150 countries.
150 countries.
I think that's right. A lot. We are Oconus. Don't quote me on that 150 thing. And I should know this because I just sat through orientation on Monday.
So if I go on to the L3Harris career site, these are all out there. And if I see something's on there, and oh, by the way, I'm going to throw the plug. I think we've got some of these on the HireMilitary Jobs website as well for direct connection that you're working with, right?
Yep. I need to update it. Some of them have changed.
Okay.
So I do need to update it, but I do try to post a lot of our high military visibility jobs on HireMilitary. So they're there. It'll, it auto shoots me an email that says, "Hey, this person's interested." And then I just reach out because I'm going to need your resume.
Yeah. And, I'm going to follow up something you said. If your LinkedIn profile doesn't have anything to tell me anything about you, I can't do anything for you. And that applies to anytime you're on a career site, whether that's HireMilitary Jobs, LinkedIn, or any other site, make sure you put information out there, because there are people like Jessica who want to help you. But if you don't give them the information they need, they can't do it. And so Kenneth Sajak has just thrown a request into the stream for you for later on. He's got a job ID number that's listed in the chat that he'd love to talk with you about, Jessica. So we'll
send me a connection request and put it in a message.
There you go, Kenneth. You've got that one there. Make sure you send it out there for him. So, you've got jobs. You're willing to connect with people. You're looking to help, and you're going to translate and set people up for success. You're going to have those honest conversations that you're not just going to tell people what they want to hear, but how to be successful, even if it means changing their shift a little bit. You're volunteering your time to help military spouses be successful. Is there anything else that you could possibly be doing?
Oh, I'm also trying to finish my bachelor's by December and start my master's in January while my husband's deployed.
And taking care of kids at home while doing all of this.
Yep, and I have 2 kids.
Bless the life of the military spouse.
We thrive on chaos. It's fine. I'm drinking coffee at 4:30.
We're trusting that that's coffee in there, Jessica. We're trusting.
Definitely coffee. Still on the clock in case my boss sees this, because he liked my post about this live feed. Still coffee, Jeff. It's still coffee.
I'm glad you clarified that. I'm totally on board. Well, there have been some great comments in there about checking out the website, and Michael has said he's gone there and taken a look, and I see that there's a lot of people connecting, and hopefully some great people to follow up with. I want to encourage everyone, please make sure you connect. Jessica, I can tell you from personal experience, Jessica's not just blowing sunshine up. You know what? She really means what she's saying here. So connect with her and have these conversations. And so it's been a great talk. I love what you're doing. I love everything about who you are and how you're helping. Before we head out for the day, are there any other things that you'd like to share with everyone?
If you send me a message and I don't reply within a day, I'm usually pretty good. Please send me another message. I am human and I am up to my eyeballs and stuff. Give me a nice little professional nudge of, "Hey, don't forget me," because sometimes things happen.
Totally get it. Well, and with everything you've got going on, that's actually a really generous offer. And you are doing an awful lot. And I appreciate that you took the time to be here with us today to do this, even though you're balancing so many things. I appreciate everything you do in the community. I appreciate everything you do for military, for veterans, and for military families and spouses out there. And I'm super impressed. Thank you for the time today. Thank you to L3Harris Technologies for letting you come on and have this conversation with us today. And again, we're going to throw some tags into the links up there. Make sure you connect. Make sure you look for those jobs. Make sure you reach out. And I hope to hear that there's like 30 new hires that came from this conversation today.
If there are, I'm asking for a raise.
If there are, we don't even get a cut of it. But I'm glad to know that that's actually what happened. So thank you so much, Jessica. I appreciate it. Thank you, everyone who's joined us, whether you're live with us today on LinkedIn, Facebook, or YouTube, or whether you're looking at this as a recorded session later on. Thank you for joining us, and we're going to be here to continue to bring you more information each Thursday, 1 o'clock p.m. Pacific, 4 o'clock p.m. Eastern Time, as we bring employers, program managers, and opportunities to help you be successful. And I really look forward to seeing you all again next week, and I hope you have a great weekend. Stay safe. We'll see you soon.